Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu stands more isolated than ever. His global allies are slowly turning their back on him. So are those at home. Just have a look at what really is going on. The United Nations Security Council has passed a resolution. It has called for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. All while the US, Israel's biggest supporter in this war, stood aside and watched. Yes, the US abstained from voting. This fell short of Israel's expectations. You see, Netanyahu wanted Biden to veto the resolution, but that clearly did not happen. There were bound to be some repercussions. And it did not take too long. Soon after the resolution was passed, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called off a delegation visit to the United States. Two of his top advisors were scheduled to visit America. They were supposed to discuss the Rafah offensive, which, remember, Israel has been threatening for a while. But now the talks have been stalled, and the fate of Rafah hangs in the balance. Netanyahu has further accused the US of abandoning its policy in the UN, and the US has reacted by saying that it is perplexed by the Israeli decision. The entire fiasco has exposed the growing rift between the two sides. You see, this is the strongest public clash between Netanyahu and Biden, and it's not going to do well for Israel, which is nearing total isolation on the world stage. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken warned of the same a few days ago, in fact. Listen into this.
As we've said, though, a major military ground operation in Rafah is not the way to do it. It risks killing more civilians. It risks wreaking greater havoc with the provision of humanitarian assistance. It risks further isolating Israel around the world and jeopardizing its long-term security and standing.
But the Israeli Prime Minister does not agree. Here's what he has to say.
I met today with Secretary of State Blinken. I told him that I greatly appreciate the fact that for more than 5 months, we are standing together in the war against Hamas. But I also said that we have no way to defeat Hamas without entering Rafah and eliminating the rest of the battalions there. And I told him that I hope we will do it with the support of the United States. But if we have to, we will do it alone.
As you can see, the allies have been openly contradicting each other. And they have been doing so for a while now, by the way. Netanyahu went so far as to say the IDF will enter Rafah even if it does not have America's blessings. Just where is Netanyahu even getting this confidence from? Whose support does Israel have if the US pulls out? France, too, also, in fact, has been hardening its stance on Israel. During a phone call on Sunday, the French President Emmanuel Macron warned Netanyahu against displacing Gazans from Rafah. He said this would be a war crime. And now the Royal Air Force has also begun to intervene. It is airdropping aid into Gaza. This is a first ever since the war broke out. And in another first, it had voted yes in the UNSC vote, while it had abstained from voting in the earlier 3 ceasefire resolutions. What does this mean? That Netanyahu is being abandoned by everyone, is it? Not only abroad, but at home as well, in fact. Polls have been showing that if an election is held now, Netanyahu would be soundly defeated. Usually his lawmakers do his bidding and defend his actions, but now it seems even his coalition is shaky. Veteran Israeli minister Gideon Sa'ar has announced his departure. This comes after his demands to be appointed to the high-level war cabinet were not met. And this is what he had to say.
I can't carry the responsibility if I do not have, in my judgment, a real possibility to influence the direction of policy. I simply do not see any benefit in this. Therefore, with a heavy heart, I announced a while ago my intention to resign from the government and signed a letter of resignation to the Prime Minister, according to Section 22 of law related to the foundation of government.
And with that, Netanyahu's coalition has shrunk from 76 to 72 seats in the 120-member parliament. While there is no immediate threat to the government's stability, it still is a warning sign. Benny Gantz has threatened to quit the government as well if the Haredi draft bill, which exempts ultra-Orthodox Jews from conscription, is passed. You see, pressure is mounting on Prime Minister Netanyahu from all sides. What will he do is the question. To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.